Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned. We are here. It looks like there's just two of us, but there is actually three of us. Mikey is here, but is faceless. He is just of the
Hello.
voice. He's just of the voice. So we'll be hearing him, but not really seeing him, which is okay. You get to see Brayden and I's beautiful faces throughout this entire thing. But if you couldn't already tell by the template or the title, this episode is all about Superman. 2025 Superman, James Gunn's Superman, the beginning of a new DCU. And in this case, we are very excited to get into it. We have debated if we should do a spoiler review, non-spoiler review. So from here on out, practically just think that everything is spoilers. Because I might slip up, Brayden might slip up, Mikey might slip up. So just from here on out, anything and everything could be spoilers. We're going to try our best, but we're going to get into spoilers at some point, and we might forget to, say, hey, by the way, spoilers. So this is your official spoiler warning for Superman. I feel like I've been yapping enough that if you are still watching, you are comfortable watching what we're about to talk about. So Superman 2025. I'm just gonna flat out. I'll just give you what I thought. My review, quick of it, is it's a 4 out of 5 for me. 8 out of 10. You could convince me of an 8.5, but I don't know if I would go to a 9. I'll say that, and then we can kind of, if you guys want to give what you rate it, and then we can go from there.
I feel the exact same way. Not 4.5, but 4 out of 5. I couldn't get quite up anymore, but it's better than it needs to be. And it was an absolute blast. I do not regret spending the IMAX money to go see this
Yeah,
on the big screen.
definitely not.
I would give it a 6.7 out of 10.
Okay.
I,
The best.
I
Go ahead.
enjoyed. I was enjoying it at first, and as the movie went on, I started enjoying it less and less. And the more I sit here and think about the movie, the less I enjoy it.
Mikey, our professional Snyderverse representative.
I would just argue the DC representative of this group.
And the only Snyderverse.
And the Snyderverse representative, specifically.
But you are a DC representative. The best thing that we could say right now is, first off, thanks to Brayden for purchasing the tickets for us.
Thanks to Brayden's mom for having Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I was gonna say Amazon Prime and IMAX were, gracious to DC fans in general to allow for a preview screening before it came out this week. So we got to see it 2 days early on Tuesday. This episode is hoping to release on Thursday, the day of the release. So we were very thankful and very grateful to be there and amongst a bunch of other fans watching this movie. We were talking about it a little bit, how we thought we were really big nerds, and there were some people there that were like, they knew a lot more stuff, or they were just really uber excited more than we were for this movie. So it was really cool to be in that atmosphere. But yeah, I think, is there anything else, any final comments you want to say that's like non-spoiler stuff? Because for me, it's kind of, I think it's hard to kind of get into it without giving a little bit of spoilers.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and limit as much as I can, though.
I think we're all good.
All right. Does anybody have like a first talking point they want to start with?
So I kind of have a list of like aspects of a movie for us to
Right.
kind of keep us on track. So let's get the easy ones out of the way. First thing I have is music. They had both score and soundtrack in this. It's not full-blown Guardians of the Galaxy, but there were one or two sequences with music in the background of like actual songs in a
Right.
soundtrack. What did we think of that? Because I thought the original score was phenomenal, and the bits we did get were used well. Bits of soundtrack, I should say.
I'd say like the bits of soundtrack were fine. I think the one that kind of, I don't know if I'd go as far as saying that it took me out of it, but like I was thinking a little bit more was the Mr. Terrific.
It felt very Peacemaker to me.
It felt James Gunn, like
Yeah, I have to agree.
Peacemaker, Suicide Squad, like Guardians of the Galaxy, like it felt very much like that, which was fine, but also like
I don't want to see a ton of it going forward.
yeah.
I agree. I mean, it was fine for the movie, but if we continue to see it in like every single movie for the DC,
Yeah, like when we get to
makes, it's going to get.
When we get to Brave and the Bold, I don't want a single like piece of soundtrack. I want just score in that movie.
Yeah, I think I mean, like, we got it also with the Batman where we had something in the way, but like it was
That's
like
a
that
little
one
different.
song. No, it is different. I feel like the thing with like Guardians was like it's multiple songs, and with Peacemaker it was not as many as Guardians, but it was still, up there. And this one it felt like there was like two, which was okay, but I definitely appreciated the scenes where it had the score more than it had the soundtrack, especially that like guitar riff theme of Superman was really well done. And I like the quote that Gunn gave. I think it was sometime this week on like a presser. He said that it like the score was something he wanted to have, and that he couldn't change John Williams' original score. He wasn't going to. He didn't want to, and so then he brought us this like electric guitar stuff, and that's what we got. And I think I think it was really well done, and I thought it was well implemented.
It really just seemed like the entire movie was, I mean, I don't want to sound like a nerd, but like a metaphor for him like he just wanted to modernize that score, and like this really just felt like a modernization of the Christopher Reeves movie. Mikey, do you have anything else?
No.
Okay, so the next one I have, another pretty simple one, costumes. Obviously, Superman's costume has been the talk of the town, not between the colors and the trunks. The whole thing with the Justice Gang, Pirates tied it up, Joey. The Justice Gang all having identical outfits with different colors was a big talking point. What did we think of that?
The first part is the trunks. Like everyone's talking about the trunks. I think it works. I've seen some people saying that they don't think it works. I think that that's the main part.
I think you need to watch the movie because it works.
Yeah, you need to watch it.
I was very publicly anti-trunks with all the trailers, but then you go and you watch it and you're like, this looks really good.
I was fine with the trunks. I think it fit. I think it worked fine. There was only like one scene where it was like they got his.
I think the only scene it looked weird was when he was, and again, this is all spoilers, when he's handcuffed and like he's got his hands behind his back and his cape's all kind of pinned because of it. So like it's just
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
It felt naked without the cape.
Well, it was that, but then also like they had that weird side shot where like it was his entire body, and like you were kind of forced to look. Like if you were looking in the middle of the screen, you were looking at the trunks, and so like that's where I was like, all right, that's a little bit weird. But I mean, what else?
James also said he's getting a new suit in his next project, so like I think he's gonna find a way, because for those of you who don't know, they put the trunks on the suit the day before they started shooting the first film with it, or the first scene with the suit. He's getting another suit. James is definitely going to figure out how to incorporate it even better in, like, this is going to be something he takes the time to work with costume departments on.
Right.
For the Justice Gang members, I definitely feel like they also tease that each of these characters, as they break away from their, like, I don't want to say corporate overlord, but, like, become their own people, we're going to see them get legitimate costumes. Guy Gardner is obviously going to be back for Peacemaker and Lantern, so he's going to get something sooner rather than later, it seems like. So I'm excited to see what they all look like, but they didn't look bad for what we had.
No, I liked how Mr. Terrific's was like a Letterman jacket kind of thing, because it had the, like, terrific and
I feel like his fit
back.
very well, because that's kind of what his outfit always looks like anyway.
Yeah. Mikey, I know that we talked about it a few times about like if it was Justice Gang or Justice League. What do you have, like, your thoughts on the suits they had?
I like Mr. Terrific's, but that's because it pretty much looked like a normal Mr. Terrific outfit.
Right.
I can't say I loved Guy Gardner's because it gave off CW vibes, of like the leather jacket,
Right.
Right.
and the problem is like when it comes to like the Green Lanterns, their suit more gets materialized by their ring rather than being a physical suit they put on, right? And I don't get me wrong, I know that the whole Ryan Reynolds movie is not good and the CGI suit is not good,
No.
but that movie at least did it right in the aspect that with the ring comes a suit, not hey you have to have a suit as well, like a separate thing.
Right. I felt like it worked though, just because they were going with the whole like he works and represents for the company. So like in that aspect, I understood it, and then like he's definitely going to get a real lantern suit in Lanterns. It sounds like from what both he and James have said.
Even if he doesn't, I don't think it's that big of a deal because as long as Hal, what's the other Green Lantern's name? I forget.
John Stewart.
Yes. As long as Hal and John get proper ones, I'm fine. If Guy Gardner doesn't, it doesn't seem like Guy Gardner is going to be,
And if you look at
a
the
major
stuff he's
character
had,
for long. So
yeah. If you look at the
I'm fine.
animated outfits he's had, it's kind of exactly what he's wearing. It's just not as green. Like he
Right.
still kind of looks like he's wearing the same thing.
Right.
So I didn't think it was a big deal. I do want to see
He
Hawk
more
Girl
has, like, a
have like
vest.
some more battle armor ish vibe,
wears,
like we saw in the Black Adam movie with the Hawkman. Yeah, he wears like a vest, but like it's also like it's an animated show, so it's kind of indistinguishable from like a leather-esque jacket. So I didn't think it was too far off. Like it didn't take me out of it. I think the one that took me out of it was Hawk Girl because like I said, I'm used to them having like we saw in Black Adam, like Hawkman has like armor on, so that one looked a little weird. But
Most iterations of Hawkgirl, she just kind of like wears whatever.
that's what I'm saying. That one just looked
So,
interesting. She
that-
also didn't have her wings out a ton in the movie.
That one didn't really bother me because it's kind of like, oh, okay, she just wears whatever anyway. Like if you look at the animated TV show that James Gunn's clearly taking inspiration from, because he stated that the future Justice League lineup is going to be exactly the same lineup as the DCAU.
Technically, he never specifically stated anything.
But
So
did.
we don't have an official one. It was believed to be because of a guy who leaked a bunch of stuff, but that wasn't all proven to be false.
No, well. Anyway, I mean, the Hawk Girl in that show, she literally wears like a yellow shirt and like I don't even know. It's like not jeans, but like
I thought the
just
helmet looked a
pants.
little bit Spirit Halloweenish at times. I wonder
Yeah,
if
I
they'll
didn't
update
really-
that.
I didn't really love the hawk sounds she made.
That was interesting because she did it maybe 10 times throughout the movie where she just screamed,
Yeah.
like very high pitched.
That to me was like the worst part about it. Like
That
Hawk
kind of
Girl's
took me
character
out
was
of it.
that weird like
Um,
hawk screech.
Yeah.
But other than that, I would say I liked Superman. I liked David Cornsweet's Superman suit. I think it fit this movie.
Yes.
But I will still say that in terms of live action Superman suits, I still like Cavill's more.
I don't know.
I could understand everyone's argument for Cavill's because like it looks like it's like genuine armor, and like it was like it's basically a realistic, the most realistic suit that we could possibly get. But I think with David Cornsweet's, it's like we're going for realism, but also like this is a fake world. Like we're gonna
Yeah.
own that it's a fake world, and we're gonna.
I feel like I
understand
don't
it,
want to
you know.
compare this suit.
And I
I'm
think
gonna
for
wait the
Zack
next
Snyder's,
one.
it was.
I feel like I want to wait for
this
because, like I
one
said,
was fine. The only
Trunks-
thing,
the Trunks being like a last minute edition, like kind of made me be like, okay, like I don't want to compare this suit to Cavill's. Like, give me Gorn Sweat's next suit, and I'll compare that to Cavill's. Because like
only thing
Cavill
that I'll
obviously
say is
had
that
Man
I
of
think it
Steel,
was a
and then
little-
he upgraded in BVS.
right? Yeah, The only thing I'll say with it is that I feel like this was maybe a little too much baby blue. Like,
And I feel like that's definitely going to be part of the update because it was very bright.
yeah, like there was some shot like in the beginning fight scene in Baravia, he's like when he's up, or not in Baravia, but against the
Hammer of Baravia.
He's like in the center of the sky, and like
Mhm.
it's like vibrant, like it's a bright blue, which is fine, but also at the same time like sometimes can get annoying. Overall, I think all the suits for like the heroes were good. I enjoyed seeing Lex in the different suits.
Yeah, he was
That
just
he had?
swagged out 24/7.
He was swagged down all the time. He looked really good the entire time, and even when he got like beat up by Crypto towards the end, he still like he still was like collected at least. He wasn't calm, but he was still collected in himself, and he still was showing like I am the businessman. I am the strong, intelligent, money-making bad boss that I am of Lex Luthor. And so
I also didn't think he
enjoyed
looked
that.
weird bald. Nicholas Holt bald
No.
was not like a weird thing to see.
No, it was not.
Yeah, next up I have cinematography / CGI. So basically, how did the movie look the whole time? I felt like 90% of the CGI in this movie was really well done. And I feel like the 10% was clearly done by, like, you could look at that and go, that was the Flash team, definitely.
I was gonna say that the Flash cinematographer and the Flash team got redemption.
Yes.
I would say that overall this is a redemption for them. However, they still have things to work on. I think specifically it was that one shot that was from the trailer where it was the teeth punching thing and it came out. I mean, it's only in this. It's literally as long as it is in the trailer. It's as long as it is in the movie.
Yeah.
And that was like the one part that I was like, yeah, like still don't like it. But overall, I think everything looked good. The Hammer of Baravia looked a little funky when it was in the air.
Yeah.
And like with the sun, but I think that's because they were like with a metal gold in the sun, and
It's the same thing about David Cornsweet against the sky. Like, it's just
Yeah, it
it's
was a
the
little hard.
same reason why Luke's lightsaber was green in episode 6, because they didn't want a
Right.
blue on the sky. Like, it's just they shouldn't have had conflicting colors, but like it didn't look
Yeah.
bad necessarily.
No, it didn't look bad. I think Metamorpho looked good. I think, a lot
The
of the
Green
things,
Lantern stuff looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think a lot of the stuff that was CGI was well done.
The anti-proton river or whatever it was,
Ooh, yeah.
and Baby
It-
Joey are
It
not
didn't. Baby Joey
forgivable
did
in
not
my
look great.
opinion.
We can say that we didn't like the anti-proton river, but we can't say it looked bad.
Oh no, it looked no the scene where like Superman's holding Baby Joey up as he's drowning looked atrocious.
I don't know if I'd say
I
it's
can't.
atrocious, but
The
it definitely
CGI
didn't
wasn't
look good.
bad, but it didn't like. We didn't like it, but it was CGI'd well.
No, that one scene literally looked like it was ripped from like The Flash or a CW show.
I
It
might need to
was
go back
not
and
I was gonna say I can't fully agree with that one.
I can't fully remember.
Please go
Exactly
back and
what-
rewatch that part.
I
'cause it
I
is-
will go
It
rewatch it.
looks horrible.
But overall, I mean, I think the pocket dimension looks good. I think the pocket dimension like pixelated thing on the gate where it's Mr. Terrific and Lois like sitting in there and it's like crunching
Yeah.
up. I think that stuff looked really good. I think when you start to pull apart Metropolis with the Rift, there were some parts where it looked okay, and then there were other parts that I was like,
The
I don't
parts
like
with the
this
buildings
pixelated
falling
part.
looked good, but then like the
Yeah.
rift itself didn't always look great. Like when it split the water, it was a little iffy.
Right.
But when it was tearing through the city, I thought it was good. I thought the big thing was like how wonky animated was Crypto gonna be, and like he's clearly animated CGI'd, but like
Yeah.
not completely overdone.
Yeah.
I thought that was a big thing. Time to get into the ones that are going to take us a little longer.
Yeah.
Actors and their portrayals of the roles. I think right off the bat,
Oh,
I
where to
will
start?
say nobody did a bad job in my eyes, except for maybe I did not love the engineer, but it's not that she like portrayed her poorly. It was just like a lot of line delivery stuff I didn't feel like was fully there. It felt a little Gal Gadot Wonder Woman, or just Gal Gadot in general ish.
I would
It felt
agree with
very
that.
Dakota Johnson.
Yeah, I'd also accept that answer.
I would agree with that. The only other thing that I would say, like, I mean, Jimmy Olsen just didn't really feel like I mean, he was Jimmy Olsen, but also at the same time, like, it felt like it was just Skylar being himself.
I don't know if I've ever seen him in anything else, to be honest, aside
I've
from
seen him
TASM.
I've seen him in a few other things, and, like, it was kind of like himself, but again, we didn't really see, like, a whole lot of him for me to, like, really bash it.
Yeah. It felt
everything
like
was
he
fine,
was like Clark's little number two buddy, and like that's really all. But then like they also focused maybe too heavy on the canonically ladies' man part. But like it did just it felt like him. I really don't think I had a problem with anyone.
Yeah.
I cannot say I love.
I was gonna say the only thing I had a problem with was
Jimmy.
the engineer.
He didn't. To me, he did not feel like Jimmy Olsen. He felt like
Really?
some guy that just kind of worked like at the Daily Planet.
I mean, isn't that what Jimmy is though? It's not act like Jimmy's a main
No.
character ever.
No, dude, Jimmy Olsen is Superman's pal. He has his own comic book series.
Yeah, but at the same time, he doesn't have his own movie or TV shows. He felt like he was Clark's pal, like this whole movie. Like the first time we saw Clark go into the Daily Planet, like he's on the phone with his mom, and Skylar's like, or not Sky, yeah, but he's like, yeah, great job, Clark. Like this thing's great. This paper that I read is great, and they're like messing around with each other while he's on the phone. Like that felt like
I
exactly
wish
what
we
I
got more
expected.
of that.
No. He's not Clark's pal.
I
He's
just wish we
Superman's
got more.
pal.
He's allowed to be both.
No. The whole thing is that he's like good friends with Superman, not Clark Kent. I mean,
Well,
not the fact that
they
he's
also
friends with Clark
described.
Kent.
They also said in the movie that Clark has been interviewing himself as Superman the whole time. So, at what point is he giving Jimmy that opportunity?
Yeah, but Jimmy's also not really a reporter. He's a photographer. He works with Lois and Clark.
Yeah, and they had him. He had a camera at
Jimmy-
one point.
But yeah, the very.
Does Jimmy know that Clark is Superman at this point?
No.
I don't
Only
think there was like
Lois
any
knew.
like only Lois, yeah. So that's where I was like, I feel like I think once Jimmy becomes like one of the guys that's like more in the inner circle, we're gonna get that bigger relationship.
Yeah,
But,
I
I
feel
mean,
like
we
if
still saw
everybody
it
knew that
enough.
Superman was Clark,
But-
if they just were like, oh yeah, like this people, this, like then we'd all feel a little mad. Like really, everybody knows because I think that was a big thing everyone had with the Flash was
Right.
that every single person that Barry ever met knew in some way that he was the Flash, and it was the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is, he just didn't feel like Jimmy Olsen. He just kind of felt like a dude who was working at the Daily Planet. He felt just like what's his name, the SNL actor that was in the
Seth
movie.
Meyers,
That was not Seth Meyers.
SNL actor that was in the movie.
Yeah, the SNL actor that was in the movie, the guy that played the sports writer, the one with the mustache in the movie, the one that was talking to Clark while Clark was on the phone with his mother.
The guy who played Steve.
Was that the guy's name?
Yeah, that's Steve Lombard.
Yeah.
Um,
The only thing
Beck Bennett.
Yeah. Like Beck Bennett and Jimmy Olsen, like, you know, they both just felt like people who were there at the Daily Planet who were just
But
there
like
for like.
they're side characters. They're not supposed to be big parts of the story.
But what I'm getting at is like Lois Lane felt like Lois Lane. She's still a side character, but she still felt like Lois Lane.
I mean,
Perry
she's
White
a side
still
character
felt
that's
like
more of a
Perry
main
White.
character. Jimmy Olsen is more of a side character than Lois Lane is.
Yeah, Lois
Lane
Lane's
is
the love
more of a-
interest.
Yeah,
She's
but
supposed
yeah.
to be a part of
But
the story.
that's
Yeah.
not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is
It'd be
like,
a lot
prime
easier if you had your camera
is- Just you have Perry White, you know, who you can look at and clearly go, oh, that's Perry White, right?
Yeah.
When he starts speaking about things, you can tell it's Perry White. I didn't know that guy was Jimmy Olsen until they called him Jimmy Olsen.
Okay.
He had
Don't
nothing that
exaggerate. That was clearly Jimmy Olsen. He's the only kid in there. That guy looks fresh out of high school.
he did not.
Yes, he
He
did.
did not look fresh out of high school.
He definitely looked more fresh out of high school. Maybe more fresh out of college, but yeah.
That was clearly the youngest guy in the room by a mile, and he acted like it too. You can't tell me otherwise. Anyway, we're getting a little hung up on Jimmy Olsen for some reason.
I think the best way to say it is just all of the characters did, like, we were worried about it in some past episodes, and a lot of media and fans and chatter was worried about the amount of characters that were going to be on screen. And the amount of characters that were shown in trailers, that were confirmed, that was everything. Everyone was really, really worried that this was going to become out of hand, out of pocket, and we weren't going to get enough of everything. I think that is a completely outrageous take now, after watching this, that we were definitely wrong, and that James Gunn did a very good and meaningful way of using all of these characters in a proper way. Now, some of them were underused, like we said, Jimmy Olsen, like, you know, we're definitely going to see more of him eventually, because Skylar is a big enough actor that why would you just cast him as this character that's not going to do anything at all? So we're definitely going to start seeing more of him.
Everyone was significant to the story. Like, everyone didn't have a lot of screen time, but they had their moment and presence on the screen, and they, like, impacted in some way.
The only two that I will entertain an argument for this comment is that Ma and Pa Kent were not as much in the movie as I originally thought. I thought that they were going to be a more central part.
I didn't
really
expect
thought that it was
them
going to be.
I feel like James knew between how much
more.
I think he knew between how much they were a part of the last universe, and then, like, the story is basically set between Metropolis and Pocket Dimension, that, like, we don't need to spend any time on the farm, really, other than the little bit that we did. And it goes back to him, like, being sick of this big three origin stories. Like, we didn't need to go back down memory lane with Ma and Pa. There was no reason for it. So I thought, I really liked them because we had that, we mentioned earlier, he was on the phone with his mom, and she has this, like, old lady on the phone moment where she's, like, screaming into it to make sure that he can hear him. And, like, I thought that was very good, and then, like, we didn't need anything more than we got.
Yeah.
We had the nice heart-to-heart moment between him and his dad, and that was really it.
My favorite performance was Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, and I think surprise performance was I would say is Rachel. How do you say it? Bronswith?
I have no idea. I've been saying Bronson and hoping it's right.
Bronson something. I'm sorry for butchering it. That was my most surprising one, is Lois Lane. Like, she was very fleshed out. I thought that she was going to be a little bit more, closed off.
Mm-hmm.
But no, she was very, very well done. I think the big three in Lois, Clark, and Lex were all well acted, and I think that these were
great chemistry between those three.
Yeah, like, I think it all made sense. It all works. I'm down for it for the future. But Nicholas Hoult as Lex definitely took the cake for me. And I saw a quote from somebody else today that Lex Luthor now feels like a genuine evil villain. Like, he hates Superman. That's it. He doesn't have anything else that he hates. He just hates Superman. Everything that he's trying to do is to stick it to Superman, to kill Superman, to get rid of Superman. And I'm glad that is the route we're now taking. I feel like the last villain that we really got from that was Killmonger in Black Panther. That,
like, just a D1 hater. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you don't need a villain with a tragic backstory. You just want a D1 hater villain, like
Straight
Thanos
up,
or Killmonger.
he's evil. The only other evil villain the last time that we got like a good evil villain was Thanos, but that took what 10 years of
Yeah.
building.
I would say
This
like
was
Ultron's another one where he's just a straight up hater. Like he definitely hit that. I would say, and they even explained it where it's like, it's not the tragic backstory, but it's like he hates him because like he was to people like all powerful because he was this incredibly intelligent billionaire that could do whatever he wanted, and then
Yeah.
somebody stepped above him in terms of power and like not only stepped on his toes and his ego, but like everybody's attention went to him. So like he literally said like he's not only jealous but like he's afraid of that power and like he wants that for himself. Like he
Yeah.
wants to be the big name on the block again.
Yep.
I would say those three, like the big three, standout was great. Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner was probably my favorite takeaway. I'm a big Nathan Fillion guy, and I've seen him voice Green Lantern as Hal Jordan time and time again.
Right.
And to see him play any Lantern on screen, I thought he was so good, and he was hilarious the whole time.
Yeah. Mikey, you got anything to add to this?
Yeah, I mean, they were. I think all the performances were fine. Whether or not I loved the portrayal of the character is not important, but I think the actual performances were great.
All right. My actually, I'm gonna change my surprise performance. I forget the actor's name, but he
Is it Edie and then starts with a G, ends with an I?
yeah, for Mr. Terrific.
He was very good.
He was extremely good. He was really well done as Mr. Terrific. His comedic lines that weren't meant to be funny, like he didn't say them to be funny, but they came off as funny just in the moment where it's like, I need you to get up here, stop messing around. I'm not messing around. I'm doing fun stuff. I'm doing
Or
fun
like
stuff.
him getting pissed off at Crypto for like chasing the T-spheres around, where it's like
Yeah.
he's trying to be like the smart, methodical guy that he is, but like people keep messing it up for him, and so like he's comedically getting upset about it all.
Yeah, it was really well done. So overall, acting, I didn't really have a problem with anybody for anything.
Yeah.
I was shocked at Metamorpho's voice. I thought it was going to be a bit deeper, not as like.
Did you know the actor
vibrant.
going into it though?
I did, and I thought that he was gonna like try for something a little bit deeper, but
He kind
no.
of sounds the same in everything, so I didn't really expect it, or expect it to be different. I enjoyed him for what it was.
No, yeah, I still
like
enjoyed
him.
it. It just kind of threw me off at the beginning. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think he was like genuinely gonna do his voice, but yeah, okay.
I agree with Joey. Being a fan of Metamorpho and growing up with like the animated stuff, Metamorpho is a guy that he's kind of like a brooding character. So he's a very deep voice, and to see how they made Metamorpho look, which I was actually very happy with, and then turn around, in the scene in which he then starts like crying, and then he starts using his voice, and then you see the way he acts, and it's like, who the hell is this imposter? This isn't Metamorpho.
Well, I think this is
Right.
definitely a like more broken
And
Metamorpho.
Yeah, like because God knows how long he's been in that cage that Lex has had him in there for.
It's not even that. I think what it is that James Gunn is doing the James Gunn treatment of, oh, here's some random ass character that not many people know, so let's make him a comedic character.
Right.
And it worked for Guardians of the Galaxy. It worked for like Peacemaker. But
I don't really
at this
know if
point,
it was more
now
of
we're-
a throwaway thing. I mean, like, because it's not like he was this. Like, he's got the tragic backstory of like he was like cursed into being this or like whatever. So it's like this was not a I don't know scarecrow situation where he's like juicing himself up to look a certain way or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
this is one of those like I'm a disfigured person because of something that happened to me that I'm not like happy about, obviously. And then like God knows how long he got locked away in that cage. Like, he's not going to be this super tough macho man.
No, but to make him the way he was, it was just this isn't Metamorpho.
Yeah, but who's to
Like,
say
this is
that
just
like
some
after he got
random
turned into
dude.
that, he was like, all right, time for crime. Like, who's to say he was ever a villain in this universe?
Well, he's not a villain in many universes.
He's more of a villain than he is a hero.
No, he's a hero in every single universe.
I was gonna say, I thought he was more of a hero.
He has never once been a villain.
So then,
Never.
okay, back to my point. What the hell's wrong with it then? If he's not a villain, and you want him to be this like dark, brooding character and not show emotion.
Because he's more like Batman.
Thank
I
you.
mean,
Batman has emotion.
limited.
The good Batmans do.
Well, very
Again,
limited
very
emotion,
limited
and it
emotion.
comes out when they, when they see a kid that is now an orphan
And-
because they just saw their dad get killed, and he then realizes, oh, he's
To
like,
prove
yeah.
that point, Metamorpho just watched some innocent man get his brains blown out in front of him.
No, yeah, and that's why I'm saying I think that this is more of a broke. I mean, this is 3 years of Superman, and it's what 3 decades of having metahumans in this world. So Metamorpho could have been he could have been that brooding guy 10, 15 years before this movie, and now he's just he now has a kid. He's been broken down. He's
Yeah,
seen
that's what I'm saying.
so much stuff that's just made him bad. So
Yeah, but-
I agree with Mikey in the sense that he
here's the
should
thing.
be more brooding, and I
If
think
he's
we need to get a
that's what I'm saying.
backstory on that.
And that's the thing. If he is still a broken character because he's in here this long and his son has been captured, then why is he acting like he is? I mean, the guy's acting like Elijah Wood in what movie was Elijah Wood in that he was like some weird character? I'm blanking on it now, but
It's very helpful.
I think the basis of it is just like we can tell he was at one point that original character, but we're not gonna see it ever because we're already so far in this universe.
I think that James Gunn just did the James Gunn thing of let's take this character that not many people have heard of and let's just make him a joke.
I wouldn't say that.
And after a
Could
while,
be
it
that.
just gets frustrating
that.
because
It
it's
could
just
be that.
constant.
I don't think they made him a joke.
I mean, they did it. They did it with Peacemaker. They did it with Vigilante. He's done it with
Okay, but when you cast John Cena to play someone and you make a comedy show, then that's different. Like he was specifically marketed to be
But
that.
that's
character.
not that's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is that he takes the character and he makes them into a joke, right?
And I'm
and
still
it
saying
worked
I
the
don't
first
think
few
that he was a
times.
joke in this movie. I'm saying you
Oh,
think
he
that.
he 100% was a joke. That was not Metamorpho. That was just a guy that looked like Metamorpho. Okay, that was just that was a complete disgrace to the character of Metamorpho.
Okay, you've gone from he looked just like Metamorpho to that was a disgrace to Metamorpho, all in the
That's-
like 5 minutes.
Yeah, he looked like he was a dude that looked like Metamorpho. I
You
can
went
dress
you
up
went
like
from he looks
I-
exactly like Metamorpho, but he doesn't quite sound like him too. What a
I can
disgrace
dress
to the
up and look
character in 5
exactly like
minutes.
Batman and then start
You literally
know,
talked yourself into having
dancing
a worse opinion.
around,
You had
you
a
know?
minor inconvenience with him into a major inconvenience, all because you talked yourself into it.
No, I'm saying he looked like Metamorpho, but he wasn't Metamorpho.
No, you started off with going, oh, he's got such a... He doesn't have that dark, brooding voice into... What a joke of a character.
Because he was. He was a joke of a character. The only thing that was right about it was the way he looked.
Chat, let us know if he was a joke of a character after you see this movie.
Moving on from Metamorpho, the other characters that are more like heavily CGI based that I think was represented well. Crypto, I think, was good. The one scene that I just visually, this is kind of going back on our CGI thing, when he's sitting on the lap of Lois and the Mr.
It looked a little weird. I don't know why they didn't just put the dog on her lap.
Yeah, like I was like, where's the actual dog? Like, just put the
Also,
actual
he looked
dog.
huge in that shot.
I know, he looks massive, which, I mean, kind of makes sense. The only thing that I forget Crypto's origins. Can you guys refresh my memory? Like, how does he become, Crypto the Superdog?
I'll be honest with you. I'm not fully sure.
I was gonna say I don't know if there's anyone who's 1,000% sure. He's always just there.
There's a lot of like different.
There's
They'll kind of take their own
Because
iteration.
there's some,
it.
if I remember, there's like, I think there's 2 iterations where it's he's from Krypton or he's given the powers and he's from Earth. I think those are really it, if I remember. But like, nobody ever really gives a crap. He's always just shows up and they never give him a backstory.
There was also one about like he was a lab experiment too.
Yeah, that's where it's like he was from Earth and they just gave him the powers. But like, if this one was like they described this one being Supergirl's pet that he's like basically fostering for her. Yeah. So I feel like this one is somehow from Krypton that like she took with her when she left or something.
Yeah. That's the only thing that like I was kind of like I kind of wish we knew like a little bit. We have like
I feel like even
nothing,
James knew.
but
Like how the heck am I supposed to explain this one?
The other thing also with that I have a problem with Crypto, and it's not even Crypto's fault. This is like massive spoilers. Like if you don't want to know anything, don't listen from now on. Where, you know, Supergirl flies in and then where's my dog?
Mm-hmm.
Pause. What? Now it's Supergirl's dog? Like in the very beginning scene where he calls Crypto to come pick him up, like it seems like they've had a very good relationship where they've, you know,
well, he even says later in on the movie where he's like,
years.
this dog is not trained, this dog is not mine, it's this unruly brat that he has to take care of. Like, it seems like he's just been putting up with this dog for, not necessarily 3 years, but like he's been putting up with it for some amount of time.
Yeah.
So
which
like,
makes sense. Like, I'm glad they like addressed that to make it that it's, you know, Supergirl's dog and not his. But at the same time, then you go and turn around and you have these, you know, emotional scene, not emotional, but like important scenes where you can clearly see that, you know, Crypto and Superman are at least like a relationship of.
I'm trying to remember if the dog is gonna be in Woman.
Father and dog.
I think Crypto might be in Supergirl. So.
I mean, at this point, I would assume.
I wouldn't hate it completely. Like, I still think it would make sense.
I think it would make sense. My only thing is like that beginning scene where he's taking him back to the lair. Like, yeah. I feel like a dog that isn't his wouldn't really know how to do that. But again, it's Crypto the super dog. You can probably get away with it.
Yeah.
Other than that, for characters overall, everyone was great. We said the engineer, you know, not the greatest performance, but
I lost you.
We don't have to deal with her anymore.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Into the thick of it. The legitimate plotline of the movie and the pacing of it. For what the movie was, I thought it was paced relatively well. I don't think that was the problem. I thought the plotline was more of the problem.
I think the beginning did really well.
Yes.
Like, you go from that Star Wars-esque crawl. It's not really a crawl. Which was really good. I'm glad they stick with like a theme of it. To, you know, the clips we've all seen in the beginning where, you know, gets dragged back to base.
I didn't think that was going to be the beginning of the movie. I thought that was really good as the start. Gets
dragged back, gets healed by the sun. We get automatically introduced to Jor-El and you know, one of the major parts of a future, you know, plot line. And then he goes right back to fighting, and you get introduced. You get introduced to Lex, and you get introduced to one of the major plot lines of Baravia, of what's going to Lois and what's going on at that point. And then you go to Lex, who they do all that. And I mean, my favorite transition was where I forget the official's name, but he stands up and he throws his briefcase onto the table, and like he tells Lex, like, you know, not right now or whatever, and then he locks his thing as Lois unlocks her door, and it cuts to that. I thought that was really, really well. And like at that point I was thinking to myself, like, wow, this is like really good pacing. Like they are knocking out a bunch of scenes back to back to back that are all making sense and are all vitally important. Yeah. There's not a scene thus far that I haven't liked. Then it kind of slowed down where they're, you know, into the pocket dimensions, and Lois is at the Hall of Justice, and there's like 3 different things that like don't really bring a whole lot of action or a whole lot
Right.
of anything. So it kind of slowed down there, but I would agree with you. I think the pacing's a solid like 8 out of 10. If we're grading it, pacing's a solid 8 out of 10. You could probably say a 9, and I'd hear you out.
Like I said, I don't think the pacing was the problem because it paced the story we had well. It was just more so the story that we had.
Yeah.
If we want to talk about James Gunn doing James Gunn things, I think the story was incredibly zany towards the end, and just like, I think it was way too big for the first movie of this franchise for what he was trying to accomplish, of interdimensional breaches and space-time tears and black holes underneath Metropolis. Little bit out there for me, especially because Lex Luthor is causing all of this. I would have preferred not necessarily grounded, but something, I don't know how to say it. I don't want to say realistic, but less, I don't know, interstellar.
I was gonna say less galactic,
Yeah, I
a
mean,
little more grounded.
because it starts off with, and then obviously more spoilers, Hammer of Baravia is Ultraman, who is Superman's clone in this movie. And it's like, I was totally on board for that part. So, like, I don't know why they didn't build up to that more, because they really didn't insanely build up to it. Like, I wish there was a third side villain, I feel like, that worked for Lex. And, like, they would have built up the Ultraman thing even more. By making him like the ultimate nullifier to Superman or something.
Right.
And then like, this is also me kind of nitpicking because I do really like all the stuff that we got out of the Justice Gang showing up to Baravia, but like there was that freaking kid holding up like the makeshift flagpole, like Superman, like Superman still could have showed up at one point. Like I was still waiting for that to happen.
Right.
I thought he would have made an appearance for all those people that he had already saved off screen before the movie started. But like,
Yeah.
I thought everything else was really good. I saw a lot of people complaining about the fights and the fight choreography. I thought all of that was great. I thought the flight choreography was really great when he was shooting around everywhere. I loved the kaiju fight when the Justice Gang showed up and we saw them for the first time.
Yeah. 1A, 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 1A.
That was great, but then
That was
like
good.
when Hawkgirl is like, she's just smacking this thing in the eye, and she's like, "I'm gonna get blinked to death" because like her foot is stuck in the eyelid, and then like Guy Gardner is being Guy Gardner, where he's just incredibly unhelpful, and he's like putting oven mitts on the thing, or he's
look,
like
I put
smacking
oven
it.
mitts.
Yeah, he's just smacking it with like a baseball bat instead of like actually helping. He's just like trying to look cool the whole time. But I also did love the emphasis on like they're just beating this thing up because they want to look good and beat it up, and then like Superman is playing damage control where he's like only looking at like, I have to save all of these people that are going to get
Saving a
stepped on or
squirrel.
whatever. Yeah, like that felt very Superman, where
fun.
like he's just, instead of beating the crap out of this monster, he's like, I gotta save these people because they're not gonna do it.
Yeah. Mikey, your thoughts?
I had no issue with the actual fights. I did not really love Ultraman either. I feel like making him a clone of Superman is kind of wasting Ultraman as a character.
But
I would
Mikey,
honestly
honestly, did you
prefer-
ever think in your heart and soul that he was gonna be like, we were gonna get a crime syndicate story? Did you ever
No.
think that was gonna happen?
No, but I would still prefer them just to leave Ultraman out of it if you're not going to do it right. To me, if you're not going to do a character right, then don't do it at all.
But the point I was trying to make last night was like, if James is never going to do that, then this character is his and his alone for free will. I don't think you can say he did it wrong in this sense, in this interpretation of the word.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said the word, like we're talking about the Bible here.
No, I mean, it's... I mean, as I said, at that point, it's not Ultraman at all. That's not the character. What all you did was take a clone of Superman, which we've done before, with Superboy and Superboy Prime and Match and Bizarro.
Well, let's not act like Ultraman is
And-
this incredibly unique name. Like, it's not like he went out and called him, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a superhero. Like, it's not like he went out and called him Metamorpho. And it's like, no, Metamorpho has always been this thing. Like, he called him Ultraman. Like,
Yeah.
this is literally, you go under super
Ultraman
and you
is an
click synonyms, and
established-
Ultraman is right there.
Ultraman is an established character. That's the problem. It's
But
not
it's not
like
like he
there's.
tried to lead us on to believe
It's
he was going to
not
be a
like
part of a
there's.
crime syndicate
It's
story. Is
it's.
my point.
But it's not like there's. Oh, here's like 30 different iterations of the character who goes by Ultraman. So this is just another one, or this is one of those 30. This is
And I get
what
what you're
you've done is
saying,
you've
but it's not
taken.
like he's taken another character and called him Batman, who's not Batman, because Batman shows up in more than one type of story. If Ultraman only shows up in one type and James doesn't want to do that, I feel like it's his right to
But
use that
but
name on something
it's
else.
it's still what I'm getting at. If you're not gonna do the character right, then don't do it. Just call him something else for all I care. They could have kept him as the Hammer of Barivia for all the entire movie for all I cared. But instead what they decided to do was slap the Ultraman name on it and then have him be nothing like Ultraman.
I'm not meaning this as a shot. I feel like you are in a incredibly niche minority who cares about that, and I'm not meaning that as a shot.
No, I'm
I
just
feel like the
saying
vast
that.
majority of people just do not care about that, because in any of the ones who do, I feel like are like, yeah, we're not getting a crime syndicate like Crisis on Two Earths type deal.
I think the vast majority of people are going to be a little confused, and I think that's why this movie might get lower ratings. In the coming few days, is that people are going to be confused. Like, they didn't necessarily brush over it. Like Lex explained, like to beat you, I created a clone of you.
Which is, I'm saying,
However,
I just wish they built it up more, but I have no
No,
problem with what they called
I don't think
him.
they really could build it up, because then if they built it up more, then they have to. Then the Ultraman has to become the one that Mikey is discussing, and like
but
But
yeah,
no, because
not,
what Mikey's describing is evil Superman from another dimension.
wanted.
but that's what I'm saying is most people that are going to go into this movie aren't going to know who some of these characters are. Right.
That's my point.
I will be
Is
honest with you.
like,
A lot of these people won't know who Ultraman is. But
that's my
when
point.
you have people who are big fans of these characters or big fans of the storylines these characters come from, and then you do nothing like you just take the name and you do nothing like the actual character. As a big fan of DC Comics, it bothers me.
But it's not, my point was, it's not like he ever led you to believe like that's what it was going to be. So if you went into it thinking that, that's on the fans.
But what I'm still saying though is, as a fan of DC Comics, it still is just like this isn't this character. Do not call him that. You're just
Well, then there's the argument for like other things in the MCU that they've done like that. Like Quicksilver, you know, made him and like the
Ralph
same thing.
Boner.
You could say the same thing with Scarlet Witch. Like Scarlet Witch is, I think, in her most popular form. I mean, not now, but before Age of Ultron, was daughter of Magneto,
Yeah.
and so they took that away, and now you're taking away the potential to have Magneto
yeah.
have a daughter in the future of the
But
MCU X-Men. So I think
the
it's a
difference with,
similar
like,
aspect of that.
is the difference with that is, for the most part, they are still the same character. At no point did this feel like Ultraman.
Well, Ultraman also isn't as popular as like those of
That's
Scarlet
my
Witch. Like
point, is that he's,
Ultraman
and
is
you
like,
got mad at me for saying
But
this. Let's be real. He's a C tier character from a very specific
I
and
would
niche
not say he's a
storyline.
C-tier
He's
character.
from one storyline that you never see anywhere else, and that's with the Crime Syndicate. So if you're going to take that name, it doesn't matter. It's not like he's calling some villain who dresses up with a straw hat Scarecrow and just making a Ralph Boner joke out of it. That's my point. He's not leading us on to believe that this is an alternate dimension Superman where the Justice League are a crime syndicate who controls the world.
But but what I'm still trying to say is, if you're not gonna do the character right, then just don't do the character at all.
I
Because
think
as
that's
a
a hard thing
fan,
to do with this
as
with
a fan of
movies.
these characters, which a lot of people are going, well, there a lot of hardcore DC Comics fans are going to go in here and going, this isn't Ultraman.
If there was a way to measure it, I would put thousands of dollars on saying you will be part of a niche minority that cares about that. And again, that's not a shot. I just believe that like it's not a big enough character where
Yeah,
people will
but
care.
but these are
It's
what
the same
my
thing with,
issue.
you were trying to say it about Peacemaker, but
Yeah,
Peacemaker's not a big character before James Gunn, so nobody cares.
but what I'm saying is, these are all things that made me that made me dislike this movie. So me giving this movie a low rating is not anything like you're crazy for thinking this movie's bad. And it's just
No.
they took so
You're
much
crazy for
about-
thinking Man of Steel is better. I'll open
Man
that
of
can of
Steel-
worms right now.
I will be honest with you. I actually rewatched Man of Steel
So did I.
before recording this episode.
I
Man of
rewatched it
Steel-
before seeing Superman.
Man of Steel is far better.
Man of Steel is ass.
Okay, I can understand your guys' point with the whole Kevin Costner "Don't Save Me" thing. Okay, I do, but
That
for the
was
most part,
stupid.
Man of Steel is a much better film.
No.
But I think here. Okay.
And I'll be honest
here's
with you, I think you guys will come around and start to see it.
I definitely will not come around on Man of Steel.
what.
But
Okay.
here's my thing, right? You kind of on like this runner high of, oh, we just saw this movie. It's really good. And
No,
then
I
you
literally
kinda
just said I
let it sit.
rewatched Man of Steel Monday night, and I thought even less of it. I
about Man of Steel. I'm
reviewed it
talking
less.
about Superman.
Yeah, I may
I
go down on it.
guarantee
I still think it's going
Over
to be
time,
better.
You will go down. I think that over time you'll realize Man of Steel is a better movie.
No, because I think Man of Steel is a 5 out of 10. So
Okay,
there's no way I'm going that low with this Superman.
Here's my question, Mikey. Other than Ultraman, what is like your biggest major problem with Superman?
Because the story cannot tank your rating that much. There's no way.
No, I'll be honest with you. I did not really care for the story that they chose to go with.
But if you're
To me, there it felt like there were no stakes. At no moment of the movie did I think, oh wow, they might lose, or something bad might happen to Superman, or there might be an actual impact.
okay, but at the same time,
no
for
point did I
90% of
feel that.
superhero movies out
Whereas
there, we don't feel like that.
You take something like, we'll take Man of Steel as a prime example. No one expected for Superman, or for Henry Cavill Superman, to snap General Zod's neck at the end.
No,
of the
but we
movie.
didn't expect him to lose. It was Superman movie. It was the first one we'd gotten in God knows how long.
At the end of the day, though, we weren't expecting him to lose, but we weren't expecting him to win in that way.
Yeah, it's
Is
the
there-
same
saying?
thing.
Is there anything in this movie that you think ruins the character of Superman?
I wouldn't say it ruins the character of Superman, but to me, it does not do justice to some other characters. I
Okay.
didn't really love some of the decisions they made with Lex Luthor. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Lex Luthor is not meant to be some bloodthirsty maniac.
I
don't
wouldn't
think he's
describe him as
bloodthirsty.
bloodthirsty.
I wouldn't describe him as bloodthirsty either. I think he is just
It's-
hell bent on.
Bloodthirsty.
That's
want
we talked
Superman
about this
dead.
last night.
That's the
Like,
only
the
thing.
amount of the lack of emotion in every iteration of animated Lex Luthor, it ticks me off so much because he's never a human being in any of the
Look,
animated
I don't know how
projects.
I don't know how you can't consider him not bloodthirsty in this one. He literally kills a guy in cold blood, in spite of Superman.
That's not bloodthirsty.
Yeah, bloodthirsty is just
literally-
wanting to kill people
Killmonger
to
was
kill people.
bloodthirsty.
I was gonna say
Ultron was
Killmonger-
bloodthirsty.
Yeah,
His whole thing is he literally just wants to kill Superman.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
the point.
He's
That is
got it
blood
out for
thirsty.
one
No,
person.
that's blood for
Ultron
one
did it for the
person.
love. Ultron
He
did
is
it for the love of the
literally-
game. He wasn't
he
doing
is-
it to prove a point.
He is literally
Love of the game.
Lex Luthor is literally killing people who just gave Superman food. In spite
Okay, well,
of Superman.
killing
That
is
is
the
the definition.
he killed. He just killed one person, and
But still, he was gonna do it again. He literally said
Okay,
to him,
you act
"I'm
like
gonna
the
come
animated
back with
ones
somebody
never.
else you loved."
Okay, but you're acting like the animated Lex Luthor never created a giant robot suit and rained havoc on his own city just to prove a point against Superman.
Yeah, but they weren't just outright point
This
blank
guy-
blowing the brains out of citizens. Just
Yes,
no,
but we
I-
also saw him release a kaiju
Superman.
into the city just to get Superman to. We saw him clone Superman and create a political scheme just to give him an excuse to beat the crap out of Superman. He straight up
the
said that in the
only-
movie.
the
the
pocket
only way that
dimension
he is
scene right there.
bloodthirsty is like he released that monster in the city. If he then goes, "Oh, I'm releasing this because I want to kill people," to then get Superman's attention, that's bloodthirsty.
Yeah, he just
Him
wanted
releasing
to
it just to
fight
say, "I want to
Superman.
get Superman to be over here," so that way he's not paying attention to what I'm doing over here. That is him having
methodical.
a
That's not
vengeance
bloodthirsty.
for Superman. He's not bloodthirsty. He is just
Oh,
solely,
he is.
I want.
Yes, the very fact that he shot a man in front of Superman in spite of
Googling the
him
word
is the
bloodthirsty.
definition of bloodthirsty.
No, that's
I-
I don't
I
think in Webster it
disagree.
says shoot a man in the head.
I completely disagree. My one point that I was asking you for is like, what do
Bloodthirsty.
you think?
The textbook definition of bloodthirsty is eager to shed blood. He's not eager to shed blood. He's eager to beat the crap out of Superman.
He literally told Superman after he shot the guy, "I'm gonna come back with some other people to shoot them."
No,
in front
literally
of you
after he said, "I didn't think it was gonna be that early."
Yeah, but then
And then
said,
he goes, "I'm gonna
come
go
back
and
with
get
somebody
somebody else."
to kill.
Yeah, that's
No.
called
I'm
the
gonna come
interrogation
back
method.
with
He's trying
somebody
to
else
break.
to
He wants
kill.
to break Superman.
I'm sorry, I'm not
Again,
giving you
I'm
this
gonna
one.
he wasn't
come
killing.
back with
He
somebody
wasn't
else to
killing that
kill.
guy for the love
No.
of the game. He was doing it because he wanted to break Superman.
Guys,
He was
I would-
asking him
I would hear
questions
you
while
out on
he was
anything
spinning.
else. I strongly
He was literally
disagree with
spinning
you.
the barrel, and then he was like, "What's your real name?" And then he'd spin it, and he'd be like, "Where'd you grow
I
up?"
am
Like he's
going
doing
to-
it to try and break Superman.
The line "I am going to come back with somebody else to kill" is literally solidifying him as a bloodthirsty.
That's
maniac.
not bloodthirsty.
I
Yes,
completely
it is.
disagree.
I just read you the definition of the word, and you're wrong.
Eager to shed blood. I'm going to come back with somebody else to kill. That's eager to shed blood.
That's
no,
not
eagerness
eager to shed
would mean
blood.
that he would just bring somebody right then
If he
and
was
there.
eager to shed blood, he would have put the
didn't
kaiju out
have
after
somebody right
capturing
then and there, so
Superman
he
because
went
he
to
would have
go
known that
capture
Superman
some
wouldn't
more
be there to
people.
stop it.
No. Okay. I'm gonna go back to a point that I was trying to make earlier. When I asked you if you have any problems with the character of Superman in this movie, you didn't really say anything to it. You just said that you have a problem with the characters that they
No,
do in this movie.
I said I have no problem with Superman itself, but I have problems with other characters.
With other characters. So that is the reason why you hate this movie. And I think it is then a completely valid reason that myself, Brayden, and so many other fans of DC and Superman are mad at the fact that Man of Steel takes away the meaning of Superman by having his dad go like this and die of a tornado.
Yeah,
He's
but at the
supposed to
same
die of a
time-
heart attack so that way it teaches Superman that you can't save everybody.
Yes.
And that eventually that is going to have to happen in this universe, and
Yeah, because
I
another thing of Man
wholeheartedly
of
believe
Steel
that that's
is,
going to
remember,
happen.
he saves the bus that's going over the bridge, and then the
Yeah.
kid sees him, and he asks his dad, was that wrong of me? And then his dad literally goes, sometimes you shouldn't save them. Sometimes you should let them die. It's in the trailer for the movie.
Yeah.
It's the stupidest thing ever.
It's
He's the
not.
symbol of hope, and he's just supposed to let them die because he can, because he
the
has the
thing-
choice.
The thing that Man of Steel does so well that no other Superman movie has ever really done before is showing him to be this godlike character.
He shouldn't be God. That's the whole point of Superman.
No,
is
no,
that
no,
He
I
can
didn't say-
be beaten.
Shut up! I didn't say he was God. I said he's a godlike character. Which, if you read a Superman comic, that's literally the way he
I
acts.
wonder
He
if
is
that
this
word was used
all-powerful
to. I wonder if
character.
Nicholas Holt used godlike to describe. Oh wait, he did. He did use that word.
And at no point did I feel like, oh, this is like this super powerful character.
Yeah,
Because
because
half the
this
time he's
Superman
getting
is
his ass
hell bent on saving people and not questioning if he should aura farm
half
during
the
the
time
bomb in
getting
the
his
courthouse.
ass kicked.
Henry Cavill sat in a courthouse, listening and watching to everybody burn alive from a bomb instead of doing anything about it. And David Cornsweet spent the entire kaiju fight saving people.
Saving
There's
a
your
squirrel.
Superman comparison.
Saving a squirrel.
Yeah.
I think that the way that it handles Superman in this movie is 10 times better. And if
I'm not
it
saying Henry
means that we
Cavill
have to
was
get
bad.
rid of,
I'm saying Zack Snyder jacked him up. Henry
If-
Cavill could have been a phenomenal Superman.
if it means that for this movie that I get a proper Superman that fleshes him out, that makes him human while also making him a godlike hero, while also sacrificing side characters that I don't really care about, like Ultraman, like the Engineer, like other characters that I'm never going to see again and we're never going to get an explanation for because
I'll
no
make
one
that
actually
deal.
cares about them, I'm fine with that. But when you go to Man of Steel and you take Superman and you ruin him by making him more godlike, because
Joey,
that's
remember the end
point
of this
movie.
Superman movie
No.
where he's talking to Lex Luthor and he's talking about all of his flaws from growing up as a person, where he's like, I
Yeah.
make mistakes, I have emotions, and that's what makes me human, even
That's
though
the
you
point
think,
of
because he was like,
Mod
you
Man.
think I'm not human. This
Yeah.
is all the stuff that I've been through. And he was like, I am just as human as you, but I am still all powerful. And that's what makes him Superman. Henry Cavill was just all powerful.
And which is, I think it's a fine rendition of Superman, but it's not one that I like.
Especially not. It's not good with the story that was paired with him.
Man of Steel and how Mikey likes Man of Steel, and that's perfectly okay. That's the point of fandom. That's the point of the movies. In this case, I will never go higher on Man of Steel. I don't think. Maybe I could if I just look at it on like a visual aspect, but I don't know if I will go as low with this Superman as I am with Man of Steel. Solely because of the
Man of Steel. I will never cross rankings with them. Man of Steel will never climb above this movie, but that doesn't mean the ratings won't change for either of them.
Yeah.
Look, I actually really enjoyed this movie in the beginning, but as the movie went on, the less and less I started to like it.
But when you don't like something, you let it affect it way more than it should, I feel like.
No, I just don't. I just didn't really care.
Did you just stick the mic in your mouth? What was that?
No, I dropped my microphone.
All I heard was because I don't like
pocket dimension. The whole pocket dimension thing that it just at first was like.
And Joey and I even agree they took it a little too far, but the whole concept of it wasn't incredibly ridiculous.
Yeah, but then they like they should have just kind of ended it at that point, but instead they decided to do a whole like city tearing rift thing, and at that point it was just it didn't really feel like
to me it's Superman. You need a massive third act to close this out, and like if you're destroying the city, how much bigger can you get?
That aspect literally felt like an afterthought. Like, oh, we have to like include something else. You know, the whole Ultraman thing, they could have taken that to the level of like the
I think you might have missed the whole that was the point of we're invading in that other country, but Metropolis is torn apart and he now has to choose a side. Yeah, He's making him choose who to save. And because of the Justice Gang, the whole point of the Super Friends.
What I'm saying is instead of that they could have just they literally could have just went, hey, Superman's about to go to Bolivia or whatever. But now you have.
But he knows that.
Ultraman
that would have been over
him.
in a second because they already said Superman showed up, he smashed some tanks, and then they stopped him.
No. Let me finish. They could have made it going. He's going there, but then Ultraman comes in and starts fighting him, and now he's stalling Superman where Superman can't get there.
I don't know. And now that's the whole point of giving the quote unquote Justice Gang their coming to Jesus moment where they break away from their we can't get involved because of corporate policies and politics.
You still could have done that. That's not what I'm getting at. You still could have done that. But there was another way to do it without having this bullshit. Oh, there's a interdimensional rift destroying Metropolis that ultimately doesn't do anything because the rift just closes and everything just pretty much goes right back to normal.
They ripped the city in half, practically.
Yeah, and then it just kind of goes right back. Right, you literally see the city come.
Think about all the people think about all the homes that were destroyed, all the displaced people. The bridge was ripped apart. What are you talking about?
What I'm getting at though is that it still just felt like it accomplished nothing. It didn't feel like it accomplished anything.
You could say the same thing. I'm bringing
the
Age of Ultron back
from
into
Man
this.
of Steel.
Ultron literally takes this, and he wants to distract the Avengers and making them not worry about the people, and so he takes the entire city of Sokovia and brings it up, and then they put it back at the end, so it's like nothing happened. That's basically what you're saying. Is that they do this thing and then they put it back so nothing happened.
But the Avengers can't stop him right away because they're too busy saving everybody.
And we didn't see that flesh out until a whole nother movie in Captain America: Civil War, where they now bring in the Sokovia Accords.
Yeah, so, think about what villains this could create by Superman not saving Metropolis.
So many other things in the future. I understand your point right now as like you're worried as to what like that didn't do anything.
I see what you're saying, but I
think you got to give it another movie or two.
Anything is what I'm getting at though. It didn't.
What didn't accomplish anything?
It accomplished
the whole fucking rift. They could have left.
The whole point of the rift was to make sure he didn't go to Boravia and stop the war like he did last time.
They could have left it out and changed one minor part of it. And
the whole point was to keep him from going to the other country and stopping the invasion, which succeeded.
Dragging it. But I literally just said how they could have fixed it and said, oh, Ultraman's now coming to attack him, and now Superman's distracted between Ultraman and the Engineer.
Yeah, but
You know?
clearly,
But you just said
clearly,
he should go
Ultraman and
over
the
there and
Engineer
fight
aren't
him.
the biggest
whole
problem.
point was to
But
keep
no,
him from going over there.
But Superman really didn't do anything to stop the rift. He was literally fighting Ultraman the whole time anyway. It was Mr. Terrific who stopped it.
Yeah, because Superman's not a tech nerd.
Well,
Superman was busy fighting people.
The other thing you gotta understand is that how are you going to get Superman to go somewhere? Say he goes to Baravia, okay? Then you have Ultraman and the Engineer that are fighting him off, okay? He is going to do everything in his power to get them, just unconscious for like 2 seconds, to get them somewhere else for a few seconds, so then he can fly over here and save people.
He literally
fly
turned
over here and get rid of
himself
something
into a
else.
human torpedo from
Taking
space
him
so
out
he
of
could-
the equation of Baravia in general was the whole point. You don't
Yeah,
want him
but he-
anywhere near it, and
But
that's
he
the
was
whole
doing
thing.
the exact same thing in Metropolis. He was just trying to get them unconscious to get to Lex. And at the end
Yeah.
of the day,
Yeah, because
the-
he was just
but at
trying
the-
to stop
but
the
at the end
rift.
of the day,
Because
he
otherwise,
didn't
he would
do
have just been
anything.
going to. If
He
there was
didn't
no threat in
do
Metropolis,
anything
he
to
would have been
stop the
going to
rift.
stop.
Alrighty, well, that is our heavily debated review of Superman. We thank you all very much for tuning in. We thank Prime and IMAX for holding that event for fans around the world, and us just three guys, a little fraction of that being able to be a part of that. And we're very excited for the DCU to come out. I will say this is my #1 movie of the DCU so far. I don't know about you guys, but
This is bottom 3 for me.
the next project for DCU that's going to be coming out is Peacemaker in August. But if you're looking towards the next film, it's going to be Supergirl next year, I believe. So
Yes.
definitely be looking out for that. But yeah, thank you all very much for staying tuned. Hopefully for our next episode, we're going to be having some other stuff coming on. So thank you all very much for staying tuned. Have a great day.